Hello and welcome to another STEM in a Box instructional video. Today what we will be looking at is creating an animation that explains how the really simple Pong game from scratch works. So rather than just annotating the code directly, which we've done previously, we're actually going to make an animation itself. Alrighty, so let's have a look what we need to do. In the core tasks, we need to demonstrate how the Pong game works with an animation so that we've got at least one paddle hit and a boundary hit on the red. And we need to make sure that we explain the three basic sections of the code, which is how the ball starts, how the ball interacts with the paddle, and how the ball interacts with the red boundary down the bottom. Now we're going to need some sort of title slides, and we've previously, in the previous exercise, we've simply created a sprite to do that. So with using the text tools, and that's fine. Now the other thing is we're going to need to turn the actual code that you see here into a sprite, okay, so that we can annotate it, not annotate it, we can animate it, so we can have it inside our animation, you know, what it looks visually. So how are we going to do that? Well, a million ways to do it, but basically I'm just going to use the snipping tool. So if this is just a snipping tool, any screen grab will work. So if we make a new one here, then this is just going to turn that into a JPEG, so I just need to save that somewhere sensible as a JPEG and save them into a folder. Okay, so I've done all of those previously, so you just need to redo that, screen capture those three there and then put them into a folder. So I've done that. So how do we turn them into a sprite? Well, if we want to go and create a new sprite, and if we create one from a file here, and this is the file of the screen grabs that I just made before, so let's grab the start one. So they're just JPEGs, okay? So it's given the name of the file name. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and then put the other two other sections of code there, actually, and the one for the paddle as well. I'm going to put all of them as costumes, you see, attached to that sprite. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, I click on the code here, so I could rename that. I'm going to rename that one the sprite code, because that's basically going to always be the code, and it's going to put on a different costume. So now if I go to costume, and if I just go and upload the costume, so I've got the start one, and then if I've got the interact as another one, and then I get the out, good, and then I get the paddle. Okay, so the paddle code is the code that's associated with the paddle here. Okay, so what I've got now is basically great. So what we need to do now is create another sprite, which is going to be something that we can use for title slides, and we've done this in the previous exercise. So what I'm going to do is create a new sprite here from Paint, and I'm going to go to vector mode, and I'm going to create a square, and I want it hollow, and that's it, like that. And what I might do is fill that up with pink like that, okay? And then what I'm going to do is just put some text on top of that, and the text I want to be black, okay? So that's going to be a demo of Pong game, so that's one that I'm going to need, isn't it? Okay. Now I'm going to right click over here and then duplicate, and what I'm going to do is change that to all the other. I'm just going to make different costumes for all the other title slides that I want, and of course I want a title slide for the whole animation, which is Pong Game Algorithm. Okay. And that's a little bit too long now, so just shrink that up. So that's the advantage of using vector mode. Okay, so I'm just going to give them appropriate names, the costumes appropriate names, so that's going to be called main title. Okay, and then this other costume is going to be demo. Okay, that's probably going to do for now. Alrighty, so let's recap. So now we've got the normal ball sprite which came with the game, we've got the paddle sprite which came with the game, we've got the code sprite that we made, and then it's got 4 costumes that are the different 4 code snippets in the game. And then for making titles, we've simply got a sprite that we made, and then it's got 2 everything that the different title slides that we might want. I've simply created different costumes. Okay, great. So I think we're ready now. Let's go back to the script, and what the core tasks have asked us to do is essentially we need to demonstrate the gameplay. Okay, we're not going to code the game so that we can play Pong. We're going to make an animation that simulates the gameplay, so the ball moves, and then we're going to explain how the game works. Okay, so we are not creating code that will make the Pong game itself. We are explaining how the Pong game works, and this is going to be a precursor to our actual Pong game that we're going to hand in. Okay. All right, now let's get rid of this. Well, not get rid of it, let's just hide it. So we're going to click on there and then click on looks and then hide that one, and the code as well. I'm just going to click on that and hide it so it's disappeared. Okay, so let's make a plan. Let's go back to ball. Now this is the code that came with the ball itself. Now with the game itself. Now we don't actually want that code anymore, you see, so we can get rid of it. We can get rid of the whole lot. All we want to do is simulate the gameplay. So the gameplay starts up here, bounce down there, the ball moves down there, and then just prior to that what we want is the paddle to move over there, and then we want that to bounce off there and then bounce over there and then maybe bounce back there, bounce there, and then we'll have a pretend where we move that out of the way and it goes out and then it stops. Okay, so that's my plan. That's demonstrating gameplay. So they're just some simple moves. So they're just go-tos and glides, really, aren't they? So let's get started. So if we go to motion, and then if we put the ball where we want it to start, it automatically populates the glide, so it makes it really, really easy. We don't want to glide, sorry, we want to go to, because that's the beginning of the game. Then let's move it to the next spot, and it's already populated the glide. All right, so we'll put it to that glide. Now, what we want is we want to move the paddle. Well, let's put the ball, say, there. So we'll make that the next glide, and we'll just leave it glide 1 second. Now what we want to do, so now we're up to, well, if we put a wait 1 in there, that would be sensible, wouldn't it? Put the ball there, wait 1, and then go from there. So that we're up to 3 seconds. So if we just quickly swap to the paddle script, we want, and then motion, we want the go to, so that's where the paddle is at the moment, you see. So we'll put that there, and then we'll wait 2 seconds. Okay. And then we want to simulate using the keys or the mouse or what have you, the paddle going to there. So we'll go back to motion, and then it's already pre-populated in there. So that means at the end of 3 seconds, it would have it'll glide to this point, which is basically where we are now. And then after that, we want to go back to the ball, and we want the ball to go to, say, there. So we'll put the glide to that, and then we might want it to glide to there, and then maybe to there, and glide, and then let's say to there, okay? And we're just pretending that we don't move that so that we're showing how it gets out, and that's going to be it. Alrighty. So let's basically that's our only animation at the moment. So if we just go to events and then put a when clicked a flag there, or get rid of that, we don't want that. Okay, so if we just watch that animation now. Good. Great. Okay, so that's it. That's my demonstration of gameplay. What do we want to happen in the very beginning? We want the sprite, this title slide sprite to appear, and the costume that we want is the main title costume. Okay, so if we go to the scripts for that sprite and then looks, what we want is the costume that we want it to put on is the main title costume, okay, which is this one, of course. Okay, and then we want to show it. Okay, and we'll just move it by hand like that. Okay, great. Now we would want that to show for, let's say, 2 seconds. And then we want to switch costumes, and we want the other costume to come on, which is the other slide, which is the demo slide, and we probably want that to happen for 2 seconds. Okay, and then we probably want it to disappear. So let's try that. Oh, look, instead of I meant to put hide instead of show. Okay, goose. So go back to, that's what I wanted. So let's try that again. Yep. Yes. Good, goes away, and then our demo starts. Okay, so let's keep a track of time. So we've got 2 seconds for the title to come up, then 2 seconds for the demo to come up, so that's 4 seconds. So we want the demo to actually start at 4 seconds. So if we go back to the code for the demo, which is here, we want to wait 4 seconds for those 2 title slides to come up. So let's go here and wait 4 seconds for the demo to start. Put that there. And don't forget the paddle. This we'll need an extra 4 seconds in here as well. Okay, so let's test that. Yes, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, disappear, game starts, bang, hits it, bang, 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 stop. Excellent. Great. So that's what we want. So we're doing one little sort of thing at a time. So now what we've got is our 2 demo slides coming up, disappearing, and we've got the demo of the game. And now the third thing we need to do is we need to start using our other sprites, our code sprites, to show so that we can explain what's going on. Okay, and the idea that I had was that you'd have the title slides, then you'd have the demo come through, and then you'd sort of do the demo again, but one little bit at a time, and then explain how each of the three separate segments basically work. So that's the sort of plan that I'm working to. So we can just add on top of the code that we have. Okay. Now the beginning is essentially where we have the ball up here, okay, and the paddle over there, okay. Now that's the beginning. So what we want to do is we want to explain, we want to show the code sprite that controls that, okay. So it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seconds. So let's just put a comment in there so that I remember. So I know I'm just remembering that I'm up to 11 seconds there. So that's basically the end of the game. You're up to 11 seconds where we could start again. So at 11 seconds, what we want is this, the game will end. I want the ball to go back up to the beginning. Okay, so let's reset that then. So what I'm going to do is I need to copy this go-to. Alrighty, so if I go right click, duplicate, put that down the bottom, and then just get rid of that. So that's going to be my go-to. So it'll go down there, and then, you know, it might be wise to wait 1 second. So that's now going to be 12. Okay, 12 seconds. And then the ball's going to go back up to the beginning. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, that's 12 seconds, and so now what we want to do is start showing this sprite for the code sprite, you see. So that's the code sprite there. So, and this is where we're going to explain how it works. So the sprite, which is the little code segment there, is going to say things which explain how it works. So the costume that we want to put on is the start one, not the paddle. Okay, so no, that's just good. So that's the one we want. Okay, all right, now let's experiment with it saying something. So in the beginning it's going to be hiding, so it's going to be saying let's try think. So remember, if we don't attach it, it'll just operate on its own. So this is, so let's just say so 2150, okay, and the way you represent coordinates there is in brackets for x and y. Okay, so let's just test that. Good. Now let's duplicate that. And the next thing, so essentially we're just running through the code. So the next thing is it's going to be pointing upwards to the right. And then the next thing is, this is governing general behavior. So we're going to add another one now. So it's going to be for every loop iteration. An iteration is just one step in a loop, one lap, if you like. That's just iteration is just the computing term for it. For every loop iteration, move 15 steps, and if on the edge, then bounce off at 90 degrees. Okay. All right, let's have a look at that. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, I think that's pretty good, but I think it really needs another slide when we start to explain it. So that's really obvious. So I'm going to go to this sprite here, which is the title slide sprites, and I'm just going to duplicate that, and I'm just going to change that because that's the easiest way, as you can see. So I'm just going to say so. I'll say, how does the code work? That'll do. Yeah. So good. So I'm going to call that good. Okay, so that's my third one. So I just want that to appear straight after the demo. Okay. So let's go to the big screen and test that, because that looks like it could be right now.